Can you play sports with a torn meniscus? In this video, we're going to be talking about some of your different options for meniscus tear recovery. And we're going to talk about how physical therapy and a strength training program can help you get back out on the field. The meniscus provides shock absorption to the tibia and the femur. Those are the two larger bones in your leg. And if you're playing sports like football or soccer, or any other sport really for that matter, and you plant the foot and twist onto it, then you can tear the meniscus. And then if you experience catching, clicking, locking, if you have pain, or if you have stiffness or loss of motion in the knee, then it's likely that you have a meniscus tear, and you need to go to your doctor to get an MRI. And then the MRI will confirm the diagnosis of a meniscus tear. Now at that point, you might be wondering, what is your next step? So obviously you need to discuss these options with your surgeon and with your doctor. They're going to be able to help you. But in many cases, physical therapy is going to be one of your first options to recover from these meniscus injuries. And the different options that you can go with for recovery are going to depend on the type of tear that you have. It's going to depend on your age. There's multiple factors that are going to be involved in making that decision. For example, if you have a very large tear and then this tear is in the portion of the meniscus that doesn't have good blood supply, then you're likely to get a meniscectomy. That's when they remove a portion of the meniscus and then they take that out of the knee because it's not likely to heal on its own. And if it's a very large tear, then it's likely obstructing some of the motion that's in the knee. Now, if you get a meniscectomy, there's certain risks later on in life. Because you are removing a portion of your meniscus, then you can develop arthritis in the knee later on. Could you imagine that you're just taking out this important piece of your knee and then not replacing it with anything? So there's a likelihood that you're going to develop some arthritis, but you can manage that by following a strength training program. If you have a tear that's in the inner portion of the meniscus and it's maybe a smaller tear and you're younger in age, let's say you're 25 years old, you have a tear in the part of the meniscus that has a good blood supply, well then your surgeon is likely to repair that. And if they repair the meniscus, that means that pretty much most of the meniscus is staying intact and it's going to remain in the knee. And after the surgery, you're likely going to be using crutches and you're not going to be putting weight onto the knee to allow that area of the meniscus to heal. And you're going to be going through a formal physical therapy process. And that's going to help you build strength in your hips. It's going to help you restore knee range of motion. And it's going to help you get to a certain point in the rehab process. But then you're going to get to a point where you want to play sports again. And this is where we need to have a further discussion about what you should do. And many people are able to avoid either one of those surgeries. You may not need a meniscectomy or a meniscus repair. You might be able to avoid them altogether and just do physical therapy. And the reason for that is because you can decrease the sensitivity that's in the knee. And if you no longer feel pain, and if you have full motion in the knee, and if you're able to do the activities that you want to do, then why would you get a surgery? And that is a question that we have to determine. And this is a question, again, that you want to have with your doctor and with your physical therapist. So I want to spend the majority of our time right now to discuss what happens when you've either had surgery already or you're going to decide not to do surgery and you're ready to go back to play sports. You're itching to get back out in the field. You want to start running again. You want to start playing soccer again. So what is your next step? Well, the next step is going to be a mobility and a strengthening program for your knee. This needs to be a program that will be progressive in nature. The first step of your program is going to be to restore full motion in the knee. You want to be able to fully straighten the knee and you want to be able to bend the knee without having any pain. And when you're able to do that, that's going to indicate that you can start to do other exercises. For example, you can start with body weight exercises like a body weight squat in which your weight's symmetrical, or you could do a partial squat in which you're not even bending the knees fully. Now, some people can't even tolerate that and they have to just wait on doing any kind of body weight exercise until the meniscus and the knee can calm down. And then once it calms down, then you can start to build it back up again with some body weight and you can start putting more load onto the knee. Once you're able to tolerate more load onto the knee, then your exercises can be progressed. For example, they can go from bilateral exercises where you have both feet on the ground to single leg exercises in which you're doing a single leg squat. And when you play sports, there's going to be a lot of times in which you are on one leg. When you run, for example, when your foot hits the ground, you're in single limb stance. So you need to be able to control the position of your leg and of your knee when your foot is in contact with the ground and when your other leg is off the ground. This happens a lot when you play soccer too. If you go to kick a soccer ball, you're going to plant your foot and then you're going to swing with the other leg to kick the ball. Well, the foot that's planted on the ground is going to need to stabilize your limb. It's going to need to be able to control your body weight in space. And you're going to be able to do that by having strength in your hips, by having what's called proprioception in your knee. That is the ability of your knee to control your body in space. And if you have damage to some structures in the knee from a meniscus tear, then we need to retrain it. And we can do that through different neuromuscular strengthening exercises. Those are exercises that are going to teach you how to move your body in different directions, how to control the position of your knee. And then by progressing those exercises, you'll be much more likely to get back to playing sports. Much of this rehab process that I'm describing right now will typically be done with your physical therapist after the initial injury or after your meniscus surgery. You're going to go through a formal rehab process, and hopefully this is covered by your insurance company. And when you go through insurance-based physical therapy, that's going to take your knee up to a certain point. You're going to have a certain level of function, a certain ability to do some basic tasks like walking. You might be able to run. You might be able to kick the ball around a little bit. But are you really ready to start sprinting, to start cutting on the knee? And a lot of people get back into doing the full 100% participation in sports too early in the rehab process. And it doesn't mean that you've failed physical therapy. It doesn't mean that you're even behind in your schedule at all. But it just means that you need to take more time and be more patient with the process. Sometimes this recovery process can take a year, maybe even longer than a year. And if you are patient with that recovery time, then you'll be able to get back to playing sports better. Once you finish the standard physical therapy plan, this is where Evercore comes into play. We provide post-rehab programs. These are the programs that you do once you finish physical therapy. And these programs are designed to get you back out onto the field without injuring your knee. Or let's say that you want to squat at the gym. We'll be able to teach you how to do those things without aggravating the meniscus. And we need to identify what your starting point is right now. For every single person, it's going to be a little bit different. So we can assess people either online through video consultation or in person here at our clinic in San Diego. And we'll be able to do some performance-based tests to get an idea of how much strength that you have in your glutes, about your quad control, about how well you're able to control your body in a single limb stance position. And we'll be able to look at your jumping and how you move dynamically in space to determine what kind of exercises do you need to be doing. What are your deficits? What are your limitations? What are the areas that are indicating that you're probably going to have an increased risk of injuring your meniscus again? Because obviously we want to avoid you making the tear worse. We want to help you avoid and prevent another injury in the knee. And the way that we're going to do that is by knowing as much about your strength, your mobility, and your motor control as possible. If you are dealing with a meniscus tear right now or another knee injury, then I would encourage you to start a strength training program with a physical therapist. Whether you work with us or another therapist, a strength training program that is properly prescribed and progressed is going to help you go through the whole rehab continuum until you can get back out onto the field. Because the last stages of your rehab, right before you get back to playing soccer and basketball or baseball or whatever it is that you want to do, right before you start to do that, you need to be emulating and doing exercises that are very similar to what you would do for the sport. They're very sport specific, and there are certain characteristics of these exercises that are going to be able to help you manage those types of movements without aggravating the knee. This is so important. And a physical therapist has been trained, they understand this whole rehab journey, and they're gonna be able to help you manage the knee injury so much better, so that way you're not gonna develop excessive arthritis in the knee, so you're not gonna make the tear worse or tear it again. And those are some risks that can occur with meniscus injuries. In fact, there's a study that showed that 23% of meniscus tears will tear again after having a repair to the meniscus. So if you have a meniscus repair surgery, then within 5 years after that surgery, there's about a 23% chance of tearing it again. Plus, a lot of people that have knee surgeries, whether it's a meniscus repair, whether it's an ACL repair or an ACL replacement or reconstruction, then these surgeries tend to create excessive arthritis in the knee as well. So if you want to reduce the risk of getting arthritis, if you want to reduce your risk of tearing the knee again, then you want to make sure that you're following a properly prescribed strength training program. There is a lot more to discuss about playing sports again after a meniscus injury. If you want to learn more information about this topic, then head over to our website, evercorelife.com. We have an article that discusses this in a little bit more detail, and it helps to supplement this video. In addition, we have a lot of other articles that cover meniscus injuries, and they can also help you with meniscus tear recovery. So if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend who's dealing with a meniscus or another type of knee injury, and I'll see you guys at the next video. Before we wrap up this video, I wanted to talk about one of the most common questions that I get. You guys want to know about inflammation. You want to know how to reduce it. Now, I know many of you take ibuprofen, and ibuprofen can be effective for short-term inflammation. It can help to manage it and reduce it when you're having a flare-up, and it can help reduce some of that pain because inflammation does play a big role in pain. Now, if you continue to take ibuprofen, many people get an irritated stomach. It can actually irritate the lining of the stomach. You can have negative health consequences, and there's research studies for this. You can Google it and look up the side effects of taking ibuprofen for a long period of time. So if you're looking for a way to control inflammation, I would recommend taking turmeric instead. If you Google that and you go to PubMed and you do the research on turmeric, you're gonna find that you need to take between 500 and 1,000 milligrams per day of turmeric extract. Not the turmeric root, the extract. The extract contains the curcuminoids. That's the concentrated part of the turmeric, and that is where the health benefits are. So you're gonna get many benefits. It helps a bunch of different chronic ailments, and it's gonna be able to help to control inflammation in the body. So if you guys are looking for that, then I would recommend Active Atoms Turmeric. This is a company that's owned by Evercore, and we started this because of all the people asking us about how to reduce inflammation, and we found that many of the turmeric supplements out on the market they just contained an extremely low dose of turmeric extract. They contain about 50 to 150 milligrams of extract compared to ours, which contains 750 milligrams of turmeric extract per capsule. Okay, many of those other companies, you'd literally have to take 5 to 7 capsules to get the kind of dose that you would get in one of our capsules. So many of our clients absolutely love it. A lot of my friends take it, my family takes it, I take it, we all get benefits. So if you're looking to reduce inflammation, then check out Active Atoms Turmeric. I'll put a link to our website in the description below. And last thing, if you guys want more information about how to get back to playing sports after a meniscus tear, then make sure to check out the article on this topic on our website. We have a lot of articles on our website that go into more detail about how to recover from these injuries. And so you can look into these various topics and you're likely to find an article that will answer your question. So I hope that you guys get good information about how to recover from injuries better. Our mission is to help millions of people around the world who are not getting the kind of information and care that they need to live the quality of life that they want. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Hit that like button, share this video with a friend, bookmark our website, and I'll see you at the next video.